Kenny, the club have recently announced that Red Ball Global FC have acquired your stake in the club. This must be a bittersweet day for you. Tell us maybe how it's come about.
Well, look, I think, Ian, I sit here today, probably excitement's probably the emotion I feel most about it. I think that over the course of the last 8 years, I've always felt my role is about trying to give the club a bit of an edge. We're a provincial club in a town of Larne that isn't particularly the biggest town in the country, and I think we've always tried to punch way above our weight, and we've done that successfully for many, many years, especially in the last 8. And I think probably the 3 things that I would always try and give to this club, or I've tried to give to this club, is energy, time and capital. And over the course of the last maybe 12 months, that's become slightly more difficult maybe than it would have done in the first original 7 years. And look, Nick and Eric, we went through a process where we talked to a number of potential parties that were interested in Larne. We worked with a fantastic broker called Dr. Tom Markham, who worked really hard behind the scenes talking to interested parties, and we probably had conversations with up to maybe 12 parties. And out of all the people we spoke to, Nick and Eric were the most outstanding candidates to take the club forward. They get community, they get UK football, they understand it. You only have to look at the job that Eric's done at Truro City to see the impact he's had on the community. He brought Truro City back to Truro for the first time in many, many years, and probably done the same sort of job that we've done here at Larne over the last 7 or 8 years. So it felt like a very much glove and hand moment for me.
Yeah. Reflecting on the last 8 years of the club, going back to the very beginning, I remember being part of a video call with you and some other board members at that stage before any of us knew what Zoom was, and before COVID and all of those things. But could you imagine going back to the summer of 2017, you know, that you'd be sitting here today, even in this lounge, Inver Park behind you, such a different place, such a vibrant place, a place that, you know, has hosted not only Premiership football, but title wins in the Premiership and all that we saw in Europe last year. Could you ever have imagined that 8 years ago, what has happened in these intervening years?
Well, it's been an amazing journey. I mean, I've loved every minute of it, and those that have been on the journey with me have loved every moment of it. We've clearly had some challenging times throughout that 7 or 8 years, but we thoroughly enjoyed the journey. And look, I felt, upon meeting Tiernan and meeting the people around Larne, I felt it was achievable, some of the things we have done. Maybe it has been a slightly overwhelming type process, but it's been thoroughly enjoyable. And if you just think about it, the sort of effort and determination and energy and drive that it took from all of us to create what we've done puts the football club now in a different stratosphere to what it was previously. And what an amazing journey that I think everyone will look back on hugely fondly. Certainly it'll be a significant part of my life for the rest of my life, and enjoyed every moment of it.
We'll talk a little bit more specifically about the football in a minute or two, but the community impact, what you wanted to do in the town of Larne, among the people of Larne, you know, was always front and centre from the very beginning. Why was that? Why was that for you, coming into a football club and Larne especially?
Well, from Larne, so I mean, Larne's important to me. I grew up here. All of my school life was in Larne. It was a great place that helped me no end in terms of lots and lots of, I suppose, lessons in my life I learnt from the upbringing I had in Larne, and I have met some very, very fine friends over many, many years here. And I felt, as Gareth did, who came in alongside me, that we wanted to give the town of Larne something back. We wanted to do more than just support a football club. We didn't probably realise at the time that actually by giving a football club capital, time, energy and drive, that actually it would have such an impact on the community. And that's a great credit to the community for getting behind everything that we tried to achieve and the initiatives that we came up with. And I suppose that's probably the greatest sense of pride I will take away from the club, will be the community impact that it's had. There's no question that the people have got right behind us, whether that's the business community, whether that's the fans. Everybody has supported the journey. And I suppose that's probably the biggest sense of pride I'll take away from it.
Was there a moment, maybe early-ish in the journey of the last 8 years, that you sort of felt that feeling was cemented in terms of, yep, this is achievable, this is doable, we are really, you know, going in the direction, we are going towards the places that you'd wanted them to go to?
Well, I think our first promotion was the critical thing. I think getting out of the Championship and going full-time for the very first time, the very first club that did that, I think they're the sorts of edges I wanted to try and give to the club, whether that was owning Inver Park for the first time, whether that was going full-time for the first team, whether that was introducing the full-time scholarship programme with the Stephen Gerrard Academy and those guys. All of those things were initiatives, there were ideas, there were suggestions, and as soon as you started to see the impact from those initiatives, it was clear that things could be achieved. And then getting out of the Championship and into the Premier League demonstrated to us that actually we could do something quite special here. And Tian and Seamus take a huge amount of credit. They were hugely ambitious, very driven, very dedicated to their work, and delivered some outstanding performances and results over that period of time. It was quite breathtaking.
There've been some real high moments on the pitch, as you say, getting out of the Championship after more or less a decade there. County Antrim Shield, that first senior trophy after 33 years, qualifying for Europe. But I suppose we look back to those league title wins, which wasn't that long ago, and especially the first one, that Friday night here, where the Gibson Cup came to Larne for the first time. What did that feel like, for you, maybe 5 or so years into the journey at that stage? What was going through your mind at that stage?
Well, it was a special evening. I mean, how the club board, Niall, how the BBC, how the fans came out in force, it was probably one of the most special evenings. I've only had another evening like that, was a winning against Lincoln Red Imps here in the Conference League playoff last year. But to see that evening and to see the lights go down and everyone with their mobile phones and everyone singing Sweet Caroline, and to see the way that the families were there with the players and the coaching staff and the board members were all on the pitch, really in effect soaking all of that atmosphere in. It was an extraordinary evening. And probably, I think, one that will go down in history as being probably one of the biggest and most successful celebrations of winning a title. I think that we became, in certain aspects across Northern Ireland, everyone's second team, because everyone was willing us to win it for the first time and do something that no other club had sort of done, well, certainly Larne had never done before. And that was an extraordinary evening, and it will live with me for a very, very long time, and something me and my family all thoroughly enjoyed.
There's been different phases, I suppose, of the last 8 years, haven't there, in terms of coming in at the beginning, trying to convince people, that you are who you said you were, what that might look like to bring players in that would get us towards where we wanted to go. And then we maybe became a team that was there to be shot at. We became a team, as you say, people were happy to see win a league title, but maybe thought, hold on a second, they're going to win more, they're going to win it again, or are we happy about that? And we were there with a bit of a target on our back. Are there any of those stages that you kind of felt were more difficult than others, or took some work, or readjusting to kind of get used to?
Yeah, I think the most challenging period we went through in 8 years was when clearly our first manager that we inherited, Tian and Lynch, decided to go to another club, and they started the search to find a new manager. We found a brilliant guy in Nathan Rooney, who we really truly believed in, and continue to believe in to today. And then clearly the pro-license situation was probably the most challenging period and phase. But I think we showed again during that time, Ian, as a club board and an ownership group, a level of feet on the floor, considered approach. We're very patient and disciplined, and we were able to navigate our way through that situation to get the right outcome for the football club. So that would probably be the most difficult period. But I've had so many amazing evenings, amazing days, amazing experiences. I've had so much appreciation from inside the club and outside the club, right across the community and Northern Ireland, for the work that the Larne team have done, not only in Larne, the community, but I think in Irish League more generally. I think Larne's had a positive impact right across the whole of football in Northern Ireland, for sure.
We've touched on it a little bit, but what has it meant to you to see what Larne has been able to do in Europe in recent years? We had the qualification for the first time, and we've done that 5 summers in a row now, but last summer especially, that win against Lincoln Red Imps, to do what no other Irish League club has done, to get into the league phase, literally putting Larne on the map. Thinking about that community aspect and the football aspect coming together, what did that mean to you, the European experience, especially last year? Well,
that evening in particular was just something extraordinary. I mean, the atmosphere here in the Church End stand behind me was just unbelievable. When Andy Ryan scored that third goal, the whole stand, which is made of steel, shook to its core, to its foundations. and it was just an outstanding evening. And probably I think it's just rewards for all of the things that we had actually emotionally invested into the whole journey, doing that for the first time. Because clearly there are more successful clubs in Irish League than Larne. Clubs have won the title many, many times. We haven't won the Irish Cup yet. We're desperate to win the Irish Cup. That'd be an amazing thing to try and achieve this season. But to go and say that Larne, on this new journey of 8 years, have invested so much, not only in the club, in the community, but in local football, to then go and achieve something like that for the first time for the Irish League, I think really cements Larne's place at the top table. And I think we performed incredibly well over those 6 games. In all of the games, I think, apart from Shamrock Rovers, we were right in those games after 60, 70 minutes. And I think we did the Irish League proud, not only as a football club, but as a community as well, in terms of how we went out in force and travelled across Europe during those games and conducted ourselves, as Gareth Clements always does, impeccably and immaculately.
You're a successful businessman. That's what allows you to do what you've done here. You've got your family around. You've got lots of good and happy things in life. What has Larne Football Club come to mean to you among all those things? Something that probably you didn't know a huge amount of 8.5 years ago, prior to playing here and being here and that sort of thing. But what has the club come to mean to you?
Well, it's part of the family, and it's as simple as that. You know what I mean? I'm a great believer that if you're emotionally bought into something like business or a football club, you have to be willing to give it a seat around the family table. It has to mean equal to everyone else that sits around the family table. Everyone has to be able to accept the roller coaster emotions that you go through in business or in a football club ownership type situation. And Larne definitely is built into the DNA of the Bruce family and will mean something to me for the rest of my life. And my time, I hope, is not done at Larne Football Club. I'm very, very keen to support the trustees and the charity and get really behind them in terms of improving our facilities, growing our facilities, and clearly the biggest main agenda point is getting the main stand completed, getting the funding from the Northern Ireland Football Fund and getting that concluded, because that would be an incredible statement for Northern Irish football to say to Larne, you went and spent £3.8 million of your own money, Larne, on buying your stadium, renovating it, and then getting that grant funding to finish it off, I think would be great testament for what we've tried to achieve as a club and as a community over the last 8 years.
And you touched on it a little bit earlier on, but you did say, and we were in this very room about 4 or 5 months ago, you said that you would only ever hand things over to someone or a group of people who you feel could give the club an edge, a competitive edge. What makes Nick and Eric stand out throughout that process that you've gone through over the last number of weeks and months?
Well, look, as I said, before I got to meet Eric and Nick, I went through a whole host of various different conversations with various different potential owners, multi-club ownership models, various different people that were interested in taking the club forward. And those conversations were extremely fruitful, lots of really interested parties, some different to others. But when I met Nick and Eric, I knew very quickly that they are emotionally bought into community, care about football, care about the impact that football can have on a community, are extremely ambitious people, have done very successful things in business and in football. And I'm extremely confident that them, with the team of people in place at Larne, alongside our other American owners who own 50% of the club, will do an extremely good job with the club going forward. And I'm hugely excited about what's going to come down the track. These guys are super ambitious and they care about football and they care about community. And that's a very good combination to have. And that ticked all the boxes for me.
Leading on from that, I suppose, what would your wish be for what Larne Football Club would look like maybe in another 8 or 10 years' time? What would you love to see the club as in the next decade?
Well, I think it's got to continue to be all about community. It's got to continue to try and give the people of Larne something to be really proud of. I think it's got to remain hugely competitive. It's got to try and remain in the European competitions, challenge for titles, winning an Irish Cup, continuing to see this flourishing academy that we've been able to produce with lots of young players now in the Northern Ireland set up, lots of young players looking to transfer into Premier League clubs. We've got 2 or 3 that will probably be going in the next 12 months to Premier League clubs, which is hugely exciting for the footprint of the football club to stretch beyond the shores of Northern Ireland. So I'm extremely happy and comfortable that Larne will continue to grow, continue to develop, continue to be successful. And I think it's essential that for the football environment of Northern Ireland, it's very important that a club like Larne stays right at the top of that sort of top table and that scene.
And for Kenny Bruce, do you still feel you're someone who's welcome around Inver Park and somebody who will come and take in games and be among people as you always have done over the last 8 years?
Yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed that, and I will continue to do that, Ian, for as long as I'm welcome, and I will give the new ownership and I'll give the charity as much support as I possibly can. Time, energy, capital, all of those things will be available, and I'll do all I can, and I will be very much taking in as many games as I can right across our football club at all age groups in the coming years, and probably enjoy even more coming here and seeing our team compete, win and develop. When you haven't got the responsibility of all the things that come alongside that, you can probably let your hair down a bit more and enjoy it, and I certainly will be looking forward to doing that.
Well, I know that people who are watching and listening to this would want me to say to you, thank you for all that you've done from the bottom of our hearts, those who love this club and this place. We can't thank you enough for what you've done and what you've made possible over the last decade. So, Kenny Bruce, thank you.
Thank you, Ian.